Well, now we're going to talk about my opinion, what I think about the landings on Mars, all these explorations that the United States, especially the United States, have been doing on Mars. I think it's all bullshit. I cannot believe all that stuff. No way. I'm reading here that how many times have we been to Mars? Many times. There has been 9 successful US Mars landings. Viking 1 and Viking 2 in 1976. That's a long time ago. Pathfinder 1997. Spirit and Opportunity, both in 2004. The Phoenix in 2008. Curiosity 2012. Insight in 2018. And Perseverance in 2021. The only other country to land a spacecraft on Mars was the Soviet Union in 1971 and 1973. And there is also the Chinese. Lately they have been landing on Mars also. I think it's all bullshit. You know why? Because Mars, how far is Mars away? A few million miles. Oh, here it is. Here it says, the distance of Mars from Earth is currently 259,114,000 kilometers, or 1,732,000 astronomical units. I don't know what that is. Anyway, 259 million kilometers away. That's a fucking long distance, man. How long does it take to go to Mars? It took the rover about 7 months to get from Earth to Mars. 7 months of flying. At, I don't know, a speed like extremely high speed. Then the other one took 204 days. Another one took 253 days. Oh, the fastest one was the Mariner spacecraft 6, 7 and 9. They all got there in 168 days. So, how fast are they flying? The cruise phase begins after the spacecraft separates from the rocket. The spacecraft departs Earth at a speed of 24,600 miles per hour, or 39,600 kilometers per hour. The trip to Mars will take about 7 months and about 300 million miles, 480 million kilometers. That's a fucking long distance. One thing that I ask myself, how can they guide the missile so far away and know where to go left or right? They don't have GPS, you know. Just flies, you can barely see the Mars. But they go fly there and they know exactly where they're gonna land. Oh, we're gonna land right on that spot there. You can't even see that spot. But they figured it out how to do that, you know. And how do they get so much energy to fly that far away? They don't need energy, it goes by itself or what? I don't know, because there's just like a little thing that's flying there and flies millions and millions of miles without, because they don't have gas stations in between. So I don't know how they get there, but they figured it out. Those guys are very smart. So anyway, that's one of my problems, how they get there and how they get right to the point where they want to land and everything. And then they have been there so many times. 1976, they already landed on Mars. Now they cannot even land on the moon. That's just around the corner here. Several people have tried to land on the moon lately. I remember Israel, India, uh, some Arabian country, I think, and then lately Japan. They all missed. They couldn't do it. Something happened and got destroyed. But on Mars, no problem. That's the easy part. Mars is easy, but the moon, that's the hard one. It doesn't make sense. If you can land on the Mars with no problem, why cannot land on the moon? They even landed with people on the moon, drove around playing golf and everything. Now they can't even land whatever, anything on the moon. Okay. Then communication. They have a car driving around, controlled from Earth. They control the car driving around, and it takes 5 to 20 minutes for a radio signal to travel the distance between Mars and Earth, depending on the planet position. So it takes at least 5 minutes before they get a signal from Mars. And they even have a drone flying around there. They control from here. It's already hard to fly, to control a drone on Earth here, right where they can see it. But those guys, they can fly a drone on Mars, millions of miles away, no problem. Just fly. It takes 5 to 20 minutes before the signal gets there. So how do you know where they're going? They're just flying in the wild. They don't see anything. But they have cameras, of course, yeah. But it takes 5 to 20 minutes before you get a signal and you can see where he is. Then, when I go here in Las Vegas, I go to the mountains, I cannot even receive my signal anymore with my phone. Because in the mountains, the signal is not strong enough. I cannot talk to anybody. But on Mars, that's no problem. You can go fly on Mars, you can get your iPhone and, hey, mama, how are you doing? That works, it's okay, it's Mars, you know. Millions of miles away, no problem. A few miles away from here, I cannot even talk on my phone. I can understand that they can communicate with things on Mars, but the signal coming back from Mars to Earth, I don't believe that. That's bullshit. Because here they have like strong, powerful communication towers and send a strong signal to Mars, and it probably maybe even get there. But sending a signal back, what do they have there? They have no powerful transmission stations there. They have nothing. There's just a little battery and a little signal. It never gets to Earth. It's too far away. There's nothing left anymore. If I have problems to talk on my phone here in the mountains, right, I can see from my house the mountains. When I go to that mountain, I can't even talk anymore on my phone. But on Mars, no problem. That's bullshit, man. And then I read here, because the Voyagers are so far away, their signals to the antennas are very weak. Well, I just told you that. In fact, the power of the DSN antennas received from the Voyager signals is 20 billion times weaker than what's needed to run a digital watch. But engineers have figured out ways to boost those signals so that they can be heard loud and clear. The engineers have figured a way out so they can hear it loud and clear, millions of miles away. The signal is 20 billion times 20 billion, no thousands of or millions, billions times weaker than what's needed to run a digital watch. That's like, the power to run a digital watch is very, very low. And then 20 billion times lower. But those engineers, they are so smart in NASA, no problem, they figured it out and they can hear clearly what they receive pictures and movies from Mars like very clear, like with very, very high quality. I don't know how to do that, but the engineers, they figured it all out. Then they have those temperatures on Mars. The temperatures on Mars average about minus 81 degrees Fahrenheit. However, temperatures range from around minus 220 degrees Fahrenheit. Minus 220 degrees, that's not cold, that's fucking cold. In the winter time, at the poles, to plus 70 degrees Fahrenheit. 70 degrees Fahrenheit, that's a nice temperature, yeah? Over the lower latitudes in the summer. So it varies from plus 70 to minus 220. At minus 220, your battery is not going to work anymore. So how are they going to fly around? How can they communicate? Those batteries are going to be like, they're empty, there's nothing, they don't work. Batteries don't work at that temperature. And then they have I read that they have heaters around the drone, the battery in the drone. They have heaters around the battery so to keep it warm, because at that cold temperature, batteries, I said, they don't work. But those engineers, they figured it out. Those guys are so fucking smart. They put a heater around the battery, and they have two little solar panels, just enough to charge your iPhone. But they charge the battery to fly the drone around, plus they heated the battery so the battery will work. The energy that you need for a heater, that's a lot of energy. And then with those little tiny solar panels, they're gonna charge the battery so much that they can do all that stuff, flying around, make movies, heating up around, and then send the signals to Earth. That doesn't make sense, man. It's all fucking bullshit. And then they have those oh, and then let me see here. Does Mars have an atmosphere? Let's see here. Yes, Mars does have an atmosphere. The Martian atmosphere contains about 95.3 carbon, nitrogen. However, it's very thin atmosphere, roughly 100 times less than Earth's atmosphere. So the atmosphere on Mars is 100 times less than on Earth. Now, how strong is the gravity on Mars? Since Mars has less mass than Earth, the surface gravity on Mars is less than the surface gravity on Earth. So there is less gravity than here on Earth. The surface gravity on Mars is only about 38% of the surface gravity on Earth. So the gravity is 38% of the gravity on Earth. So there is less gravity, but there is very little atmosphere. 100 times less. But they have no problem. So when they land stuff on, like those carts and all that stuff, they land it with a parachute. And the size of the parachute is the same size as what they use here on Earth. But the atmosphere there is 100 times less, so how can the atmosphere hold that parachute? There's no way. Okay, I understand the gravity is only 30-some% than that of Earth, so you need less. There is less attraction, less gravity, but 100 times less atmosphere. You're gonna need a much bigger parachute to land something there on Mars. But no, they open up, boom, and just like on Earth, right away it opens up and it slows down. I cannot believe that. That's bullshit. And then those cars that they're running around, they're like mobile laboratories. How can you work with a mobile laboratory? How does that work? And what are you going to do? Take some samples of the sand? They can do one test, and then the container where they put the sand, it's all dirty. How are they going to clean it out to do the next test? Plus they have sandstorms. How bad are the dust storms on Mars? Mars is famous for its large planet with white dust storms. It has less atmosphere than on Earth, but it has still creates winds. When these winds pick up the fine dry particles of dust on Mars, a dust storm can occur. Most dust storms cover an area for a few days and carry small particles of dust at speeds of 33 to 66 miles per hour. Dust storms on Mars can be fierce enough to cover the entire planet in a dusty haze for weeks. You won't even see that cart and the drone anymore because it's going to be full of dust. But the cameras are still working fine, everything is clean, no problem. How do you do that? And that laboratory working fine with the little solar panels driving around up and down and then sending signals to Earth, all the information. And then the temperature is so cold, but no problem, those things are running around clean, everything is clean. You see those movies, your picture there, everything looks clean. You don't see no dust anywhere on those carts or on the drone. It's crazy, man. It's complete bullshit. That doesn't. You have to be an idiot to believe all that stuff. And then they have been going there to so many times. What are they doing there? Just testing, making some tests of sand samples, and that's it. That's all they did. Oh yeah, sand. We have sand here. That's it. That's all they know. So what's so important to fly to Mars? There is nothing to see, there is nothing to do, there is nothing there, just sand and mountains. What's so interesting about it? And they have to go there and fly there and do tests and test and test. Testing what? Sand samples? You did it already. How many test samples do you need to do to know what's in the sand? And then, like Elon Musk, he wants to live on Mars. What is he going to do on Mars? There is no air to breathe. The temperatures are crazy, minus 200 degrees. How is he going to live there? You're going to sit in a container for the rest of your life? That's so much fun. And there is no food, nothing to eat there. What are they going to eat? There's no shopping center, no entertainment, no iPhones, no internet. What are you going to do? Sit there in his container in Mars and, oh, I'm so happy here on Mars, so cool. Freezing to death. If the heater doesn't work, he is going to be dead next day. No, next day, 5 minutes later. So it doesn't make sense, man. It's all bullshit. It's just the same thing on the moon. What are they going to do on the moon? Testing the samples, sand. It's sand and mountain. That's it. And what? Okay, if you know what's in the sand, so what? What if you know in the Mars what's in the samples? Okay, now I know what sand. It's sand and there's rocks. Okay, and what? Even if there was gold there, you cannot take that gold anyway because it's too expensive. You have to fly 6 months before to get there and spend all the money on the missile, and then come back with one carload of gold. The gold is going to be not $100 or $1,000 per ounce. It's going to be millions of dollars per ounce. That doesn't make sense, man. It's all bullshit. And Elon Musk is also one of them. Why does he want to go to Mars sitting in a container? It's more fun than sitting in jail because you have free food and you can go outside once in a while, talk to your friends and breathe air. On Mars, you sit in a container for the rest of your life. You don't even know if you're going to have food tomorrow. It doesn't make sense. It's all complete bullshit. So that's what I have to say about it, and that's my opinion about those travelings to Mars. So I may be all wrong, and maybe it's true, but I have a very hard time to believe it. I cannot believe this stuff. Okay, that's it. Thank you for watching.